I'm going to start off this secrets video by jumping off a cliff, and that's because secret number 1 is that Hornet can actually explode from high enough fall damage. Nah, could you imagine? This secret is actually having to do with Hornet's fall speed. When you dash or when you fall normally, you always fall at the exact same velocity. Your terminal velocity is always the same, and from what I've known for all of my hours playing this game, I've never been able to fall faster. Even when you use something like the drill, it doesn't make you fall faster. I think that is in fact slower than your normal falling speed. And it's sad because you have things like the Silksong to make you go up a lot faster, but why not have a way to make you fall down faster? That would be very useful to save time as well. And I had always wanted a way to increase my falling speed, not knowing that there had been one in the game from the start. The weighted belt says that it will let you recoil less when striking foes, and you will not be flung as far when taking damage. But because Team Cherry loves adding little details, it does more than that. It is a weighted belt, so it also adds weight to Hornet. It makes you fall faster. Now, you may be able to notice that I'm falling faster than I did at the beginning of this video, but it is sometimes not as easy to see, so I'm just going to directly compare falling from the top of Bone Bottom to the bottom with the weighted belt and without the weighted belt to show you exactly how different your falling speed gets with this one yellow tool equipped. And it's pretty amazing once you see them both side to side. 1, 2, 3. That is how long it takes with the weighted belt equipped. Now if you take the weighted belt off, you'll see a substantial difference in how long it takes you to fall. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there you go. It's around 30% difference in falling speed. The weighted belt makes you fall substantially faster. Now, this isn't the most exact method. I believe it's like 20% is the exact amount of falling speed it gives you when you equip the weighted belt, but it's a cool perk for people who want to get places faster, especially with all the verticality that Silksong has to offer. And there's so many ways to slow your falling speed in this game. I love finding a way to make it go faster. And if you, dear viewer, know all 10 of the secrets that I am going to share with you today, you can dislike this video. If you don't know one of them though, you have to like it. One of them has to do with Flick here. Flick is a never-ending well of crazy facts in this game. So, let's go on to secret number 2. Silksong has so many awesome red tools like the flint slate, and beyond that, it even has a lot of tools that are simpler but still do great damage. Pretty much every red tool in this game has some purpose to it, even the healing of the plasmium file. And then you get to the Longpin. Weighted pin and haft formed to pierce tough shells. In theory, it sounds cool, because what it does is that it pierces defenses that your needle can't. For example, the top of the Skull Tyrant can't be hurt because of how strong of a shell it is. Use the Longpin, it goes right through it. For all other enemies in this game that have shields or try to block the damage you deal, the Longpin is pretty good at getting past those defenses. So naturally, I wanted to know if the Longpin could be useful against the 2 most famous bosses in this game who block your attacks, Phantom and Lace. They both block them with a parry, where if you hit them while they are blocking, they will retaliate. So what happens if you hit them with a Longpin? Would it go through their guards and cancel out their retaliation? If so, I may have discovered a really cool use case for the Longpin that I'd never thought of before. And to that I say, dear viewer, just watch and experience the sadness I did while learning how the Longpin works. Yeah, it is a guard piercing tool that doesn't pierce the most notorious guards in the game. All the guards that Lace and Phantom do. So, while the first secret was about something that does more than you had hoped, this second secret is about a tool that does far less than I could have ever hoped, and it cost me my Steel Soul run. Don't use the Longpin, dear viewer. Just don't do it. This next secret is a secret, but it's also just a mechanical explanation of the weirdest object in this entire video game. This circular pathway machine in the coral chambers. To begin with, as you can see, when it is turning, it kind of just emits a force against Hornet that pushes her outside of it, probably because they didn't really have the physics engine to work correctly with this machine. And when I started seeing that, I wondered what would happen if I planted tools inside of this rotating circle. Because if the physics work correctly, they should just slide down and go alongside it. But the physics do not work correctly. Essentially, what I've learned in this experimentation is that this rotating circular machine has parts of it on the inside that just kick you outside of it the second it gets activated. Yeah, you'd imagine the doors there would kick you out, but no, the entire circle emits a force that pushes anything inside of it outside of it. But not anything, because you can also get a tool like the snare setter and place a trap in place in the middle of this circular machine. And what happens now when you try to rotate it? Will it kick those snare traps outside as well? And if I move these tacks to the left side of it, will it go outside on the left side of it as well? Those were some interesting ideas I had, and what happens is it doesn't kick out the snare setters at all. So this is how the thumbnail was born, everybody. Yeah, this is not a hacked or modified image. This is 100% doable in-game the second you can get the snare setter and you can come to the Citadel. You can just put these down and they will float in place in this crazy machine forever. And the tacks seemingly vanished from existence on the left side, but I think that's just because I didn't place them far left enough. There is a specific coordinate on the right and left side of this circular machine that anything placed inside that coordinate will be kicked out, and the rest of them will just go to the center of the machine, as you can see, proven by the way it reacted here. So yeah, this is a secret, I guess, but I'm 100% certain Team Cherry did not intend for this to be a secret that was discovered. This is a secret in the same way that half of developers leave secrets in their code that they hope no one ever finds out about. But hey, I'm here to find out about all of it. And while I'm in the process of talking about secrets that are more mistakes made by Team Cherry, I'm here showing you that the Bell Beast is not freed. And because she is not freed, you would expect me not to be able to run and stuff, but you can simply skip the Bell Beast by farming 500 rosary beads, going through the wormways, doing a bunch of skips that I've showed off in the past. And by doing all of that, you can get the Cling Grip and essentially progress with the entire game normally, having never freed the Bell Beast. However, in past patches, not freeing the Bell Beast means that Flick never finishes creating the Wish Wall. Freeing the Bell Beast used to be a condition that was required before the Wish Wall would be completed. However, when I check now, it seems that the Wish Wall is completed without freeing the Bell Beast, but there is no dialogue in the game for Flick to use because we have not freed the Bell Beast. So, your secret this time is that Flick will be a jerk and ignore you because you have not freed the Bell Beast. He doesn't even react to any of my movements. You can choose to go to the speak option, and instead Hornet will headbang. That's part 2 of the secret. This is how you can unlock headbanging in Hollow Knight Silksong. It's pretty awesome. And it's just really funny to see in practice what happens when there's no dialogue for a character to give to you. And just to show you that this is the condition that causes Flick to not be able to talk to you, I have just beaten the Bell Beast, freed her, and collected the Soul Cart. And now that I've done so, I'm going to go directly to Flick on this exact same save file, and you will see that now he is more than willing to have a nice conversation with Hornet. You see? So, if you ever want to give Hornet the ability to headbang, or you just never want Flick to talk to you ever again, then skip freeing the Bell Beast and do all the skips that let you do so, because then he will never have another word to say to you as long as you live in this world. I apologize everyone, I've gone too far off the deep end with these unintended secrets. Where are the real true blue secrets that Team Cherry meant for the game? Like activating Flint Slate, preventing you from getting cold, or at least resetting your cold timer while you're in Mount Fae. That's a good secret, but that's a secret everyone knows. I don't want to fill this video with secrets that I've already known about ever since the game came out. There's even some less known secrets to do with the fire though, like the fact that Wisfire Lantern also gives you a longer cool timer. A cool timer, which is me saying that it takes you longer to freeze to death outside in Mount Fae while you have the Wisfire Lantern equipped. Now you would never know that because you can't get this lantern without getting the double jump, which already means you don't get cold anymore, but it's a fun fact. But that too is not the secret. The real secret that I just found out is that there's another tool that resets your frozen timer. The Pimpillo. Yeah, who could have guessed it? But Team Cherry was so thorough when thinking of everything in their game that could give you a bit of heat, that if you throw a bomb and explode it in Hornet's radius, it will reset your freezing timer. And just to prove that, I'm going to get down to the point where I'm almost freezing to death as Hornet, and I'm going to throw a bomb at myself. And you're going to see how this solves a problem immediately. It's incredible. Like, truly, I never would have thought that this is something that could be done at all. It's such a weird niche mechanic, and it's something now that people can probably use in like special challenges. Let's climb Mount Fae using only bombs. That's a video I'd watch. I don't know about all of you. But yeah, it's incredible. Despite the fact that this bomb doesn't hurt Hornet, it does warm her up. So these bombs are in fact some of the most pleasant tools that you can run around with, because basically they're just a heating pack to help you when things get too tough and too cold. And while we're already at Mount Fae, why don't I go over a tool that you can find here. The memory crystal says when taking damage, a memory of the bearer is formed of the crystal, and then that memory will shatter into sharp spines. But what I'm interested in for this secret is that it says when you take damage, a memory crystal is formed. And I've trusted that all the 1% of time I've used this tool before. When I'm in combat, it generally works as described. You run into enemies, you form a crystal, and it explodes for decent damage. 34 damage is nothing to scoff at. But sadly, there is something else to scoff at in regards to this tool. The tool says that when you take damage, a crystal is formed. It's very simple, but it is a lie. Because the truth of this tool is that it's only when you take damage to enemies that a crystal is formed. If you fall into spikes, or if you take damage from cold, you will get no crystal around you. So, once again, we have a secret that is part of Team Cherry lying or making a mistake. Although this was probably an active decision. You can get cold and freeze into its crystal at Mount Fae though. Whenever you kill an enemy in Silksong, their bodies tend to die in very vanilla ways, let's say. They just turn into corpses, their bodies go into the backdrop, and that's the end of it. If they were voided, maybe they have a couple of black dots, maybe their corpse gets a bit darker, but really that's it for 99% of cases. So why not talk about the 1% of cases where that doesn't happen? If you have the snare setter, it gives a very special effect to all bodies of enemies that die to it, and it's an effect that you may recognize if you played the original Hollow Knight before. So when you kill an enemy with the snare setter, whether they're voided or not, their body will start to emit soul particles, and then it will turn black and charred. Soul particles are the things that come off of enemies in the original Hollow Knight when you kill them with spells, aka if you use the power of soul to kill them. Now, I thought that this might be an effect of killing the enemies with a tool that uses silk, so I figured why not try killing them with another tool that uses silk, like the silk shot. But what I found is that this is specific to the snare setter. If you kill enemies with the silk shot, they die normally, their corpses look normal, and they get no particles coming off of them. So this tells us that there is something specific about the way the snare setter works that ties it back to soul. Now, this would make sense if you thought this was something from the Snail Shamans, but it's not. The Snail Shamans ask you to get it, but this was an item created by the Weavers. So this connects the Weavers to soul power and to the kind of spells that the Snail Shamans used back in the original Hollow Knight. So, a lot of lore comes to this, and while I can't give you the exact answers on what this all means, it's cool to see the soul particles return in Silksong. As for a less lore-filled and more annoying secret, who else hates the snitch flies all around Farloom, especially in Act 3? They just run around the ruined kingdom, they're opportunists, they try to steal as much as they can find, and I hate them. I never want them to be near me again, and fortunately for all of us, there's a way that you can make all the snitch flies in Farloom ignore you entirely. If you've bought the Thief Mark from Grindel, then it shows all of the snitch flies around you that you are one of them. You are a fellow thief. And because you are a fellow thief, they all pledge not to hurt you. So you can turn these enemies into the very few creatures that will not harm you on contact. And as a secondary secret, while you're wearing the Thief's Mark, they will not sing alongside you. Now, whether this is a secret or another glitch, I'm not sure, because you'll find that you can attack them, by the way, if you do just hate them so much and you want to destroy them anyway. But once they start becoming active enemies again, they will be inclined to sing to you. So, very interestingly, I assume it's because the game doesn't treat them as enemies once you have the Thief's Mark on. But yeah, you can have them not hurt you at all, and you can get more money from them when you kill them, even when they're not trying to hurt you. It's a win-win for everyone. In the previous video on secrets in this game, I found out that one of the only bosses in this game that's immune to the poison effect from the polyp pouch is Sister Splinter, and I thought that she was the only boss immune to the poison's effects. Then I got the idea that maybe enemies that aren't really alive, like these silk-filled bodies, wouldn't be hurt by poison either. I don't know if that's how that works exactly, and it turns out that's not how that works. You can very easily hurt all of these silk-infested enemies with poison, which makes it even more interesting that while you can hurt all of these, like, silken zombies, there is one of them who is completely immune to the effects of poison. The main one that I've come down here to fight, the Unraveled. And I suppose it's likely because the Unraveled is so far gone that there's not even a bug in them anymore. It's essentially all just the corpses and old bodies of the people down here, like the conductors and such. But as things stand, the Unraveled cannot take any damage from poison. You can see the effects going off of them there. It's much like with Sister Splinter. My normal needle strikes do damage, but nothing I do that has any poison attached to it will ever hurt the Unraveled. So hey, if you're fighting Sister Splinter or the Unraveled and you're coming in with a poison-based strategy, especially on a Steel Soul run where you're not saving quitting, maybe reconsider. It could save you having to look at this game over screen like I constantly have to do over the course of making these videos. The final secret I have for all of you today is a new secret, I believe. I think this is something that was just added in a recent patch because I don't believe it was something I noticed in the past when I was perfectly in state to have noticed it. I'm in an area that many of you may recognize in the Whispering Vaults. It leads to a pale oil. What you may not recognize is this hidden wall in this area. I didn't know this existed in my first playthrough, but when you go in here, you'll find Vaultborn, enemies that many of us only met in Act 3 because that's when they started existing outside of this one room. However, if you find this room in Act 2 and hit this very suspicious lever, you've just made your life worse for the entire rest of your playthrough. Congratulations, everyone. You've released the Vaultborn out onto the Whispering Vaults proper, and now they are added as enemies to every single area in this zone. Congratulations. But what I'm interested in is their Hunter's Journal entry. You see, most of us first encounter the Vaultborn in Act 3 when we get to hear this beautiful serenading by these children. Who even taught these children to sing? That's what I want to know. But once you get into this arena, you'll probably kill your first Vaultborn as they all ambush you from in front of the pews. And when you kill enough of them rather, you'll get the Hunter's Journal entry describing where they came from, Hornet's thoughts on them, and in this case, saying these bugs have been driven out of their vault's recesses by Farloom's black collapse. They are a nuisance and I have only myself to blame. So it is Hornet's fault that Farloom collapsed, but that specific entry said they were driven out by the Void. What happens if we drove them out? Well, then it will say, in entering their domain, I freed the bugs to infest the greater vaults. And funnily enough, in both cases, Hornet will say they are a nuisance and I have only myself to blame. Because I mean, it's true. No matter what you do in this world, whenever you free the Vaultborn, it will be your fault. It's nice to know that that is constant in this world. And they are certainly a nuisance, because whether it's Act 2 or Act 3, you'll find that they are all over the place. I feel like their spawns are kind of random, but they can randomly spawn in a lot of places in this area, which I already felt was pretty loaded with enemies. Loaded with annoying enemies, to be sure. So, while we find this amazing secret of a new entry that I think was just added to the game, I don't remember that distinction existing in the past, though if I am wrong, any of you can correct me. Why don't we go back to where it all started, the room where we freed them, for a final secret. if you freed them here earlier, they will come back and reminisce probably about their childhood raised in this room, trapped in this room, until Hornet came by and freed them, whether directly or with the power of the void. And you can taunt them and get them to stop talking. I don't want to interrupt your guys' conversation, don't worry. But thank you all for watching this video. Hey, if any of you knew everything that I had to tell you today, congratulations. You are probably more knowledgeable about this game than even I am. Thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed learning all these facts. Have a good day.